Okay, so we are here with Miss Mallory Smith. Mallory is actually a good friend of mine. We were coworkers for a little while, and I was so blessed to get to know her story about motherhood and kind of her journey that she's been on. Mallory, you didn't want me to say this, but you have a TikTok that is actually quite famous. You have lots of followers, and one of your main platforms I feel like that you have posted about is your kids, and more specifically your youngest. Her name is Anna. Tell us a little bit about Anna and kind of how she became part of your family.
Well, my husband and I have been married for 14 years,
Wow.
and we have two biological children, boys, Peyton and Kipton.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided after those two, I had cancer and wasn't able to have any more children, that we really wanted to adopt, and God had really placed it on our hearts to go through the foster care system.
Okay.
And we did. We got approved through DFACS, and we were approved on a Wednesday, and we're called to pick up Anna on a Thursday, and she was 6 weeks old.
Wow, and that's uncommon.
Very uncommon.
Very uncommon. Usually it's a much longer process, right?
It is.
Okay.
Right now, though, I do have to put a plug in and say that foster parents are desperately needed, and there are lots of children that need homes.
Absolutely.
So if you are interested in being a foster parent, you can get approved and pretty much get a child instantly. So
Okay.
that's another way to get to motherhood. But Anna was 6 weeks old at the time, and now she's 4.
Okay. Awesome. So, let's see. Now, how old are your boys?
So my oldest is 15,
15. Okay.
and my middle is 11.
Okay. How do they feel about a new additional sister?
I think that they probably fell in love with her before I did. I was guarded because I was afraid she wouldn't stay since she was a foster baby, but they fell in love instantly, and
Awesome.
they love her.
How long? I know you said you got her pretty quickly after becoming a foster parent. How long was the process of actually adopting Anna?
About 20 months.
20 months. Okay.
Yes, so we did 18 months of court and supervised visitation with her biological family, and ultimately her biological mother decided it was best to sign over her rights and allow my husband and I to adopt her.
Okay. Now, as far as the, you said God had kind of laid something on your heart to adopt. Talk me through that. How did you guys think that adoption was right for you? Would you have wanted more kids in general, or had you always kind of had a burden to adopt, or how did that kind of come about, do you think?
Ever since I was a little girl, I've always wanted to adopt.
Okay.
I think if we could have had more kids, we would have had more kids, but that's just not the plan God had for us.
Yeah.
Clearly, because He had Anna in the plans. So we were just open to adoption. It's something we prayed about. We'd get real close to adoption, then we'd back off because we were, it's a scary process. And then we finally decided to commit to it. And, we had looked at adoption agencies, but it's very expensive.
Absolutely.
You're looking at $30,000 and $40,000 for adoption when there's so many children that are in the custody of the state that need homes. So that's just kind of where it led us.
And so she was the first one that you got to foster, or were there more?
She's the first one we fostered. We have fostered some after her. They
Okay.
did not stay permanently, obviously, but she was the first one we brought home.
Okay. And so how did you know? How do you know that that's the kind of the one for you? Talk us through that. I know a lot of people say, a lot of adoptive parents, I love them like my own, and some people wonder, well, how do I do that? How can I love them like my own biological child? Kind of talk me through the process of falling in love with Anna, and kind of how you knew that this one isn't just one I want to foster, but this is a child I want to love and that I want to have, in my home forever.
Honestly, I think it's pretty immediate. With Anna, we got her on a Thursday night. I had worked all day at Fairview that day.
Okay.
We got her that Thursday night, and she came to us with nothing. So we had to bathe her, and I swaddled her up, and my friend let me borrow a bassinet, and I laid her in that bassinet, and I walked away. She was tiny. She was asleep. And I was washing dishes, and I thought to myself, you already love her. But you can't let yourself get connected. Like, I felt like I had to stay strong because I thought she may go home. She wouldn't stay. But that night, she fell asleep on Lance's chest, and Kipton and Peyton and my boys, they just fought over who could hold her, and it was pretty instantly that I knew this was a fight that I was willing to do. You know, the ultimate goal of fostering is to reunite a baby with their biological
Yeah.
family. Obviously, sometimes that's just not the best option, and we knew from pretty right away that it was the best if she stayed with us and she fit seamlessly. And you do love them just like you love your own. You know, that was one of my biggest fears, but it's a different kind of love. But I didn't grow her in my belly. I didn't get to feel all that. I didn't get to be there when she was born, but I had to fight for her in a different way.
Absolutely.
So it's a different kind of bond, but it's the same kind of love.
Okay. Now, I obviously, we have somewhat of a relationship, so I've gotten to watch Anna grow just a little bit for the past few years. I think it's incredible how much she mimics you, and it kind of actually even looks like you and talks like you and things like that. What has the process been like as far as just watching her grow? Is there any moment that you kind of find yourself going, oh my gosh, like, you know, what are kind of some things that maybe she does like you guys, or that she has kind of picked up on that you find interesting or anything like that?
Well, we're a quirky and crazy family for sure.
Of course.
And she fits in just the same. You're right. She has the same mannerisms as me. She talks like me.
Mm-hmm.
She laughs like her daddy. She copies the boys, whatever they do. You know, they can swim, so she can swim. She's a daredevil. And what's good about Anna is this, though. Sometimes when I look in her face, I do see her biological mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful for those moments because I feel like God does that to remind me.
Yeah.
You know, but she is a lot like me, and the more she grows, the more people tell me that. So.
I love it. Well, we're going to take a short break, and then we've got some more questions for you for sure. But join us. Give us just a minute. We'll be right back.
At City of Hope Heart and Vascular Center, we do your heart right. Count on Dr. Collins A. Courtang, MD, FACC, FSCAI, and his competent staff to treat you with specialties in internal medicine, echocardiology, nuclear cardiology, general adult cardiology, and interventional cardiology. Other areas of expertise that Dr. K and his complete staff can help you with are acute and chronic heart attack management, peripheral interventions to save legs, heart rhythm abnormalities. So count on the professional and knowledgeable staff at Dr. Courtang's City of Hope today. Call 478-353-1970, City of Hope Heart and Vascular Center. See us today at 207A Fairview Park Drive in Dublin. If you've never had a cardiologist, or if you need a second opinion, come see City of Hope Heart and Vascular Center today.
Okay, we are back with Miss Mallory Smith. We've been talking with Mallory, if you're just joining us, about her being an adoptive mother and kind of her process of adoption. Now, in our last segment, I asked you kind of about how you decided to adopt. Off camera, we talked a little bit more, and you told us that originally you had a dream. Tell us about that and how all of that played into your choice to adopt Anna.
When my husband and I had first started talking about adoption, I kept having a reoccurring dream, and at first I didn't even tell him about it because I thought, like, I'm just crazy. But I just would keep seeing very clearly a dark hand on my pale chest, a small hand, you know, and I would tell Lance, I think we're going to adopt, and I think it's going to be a child that's of a different race with darker skin than us. And he, of course, that was fine. That wasn't an issue. But as we were going through the process and getting ready to become foster parents, you know, we one of the things you have to go through to be a foster parent is a class called Impact Class.
Okay.
And I think I've told you this before, but one of the things they ask you to do in that class is to take a sheet of paper and draw on it the perfect child you would want.
Okay.
And so Lance and I, we had one sheet of paper. We drew a little girl, and I had two boys, so I wanted a girl, and I drew all this curly hair, and I shaded her skin dark.
Okay.
I wish I still had that picture, but when that part of the class was over, the teacher said, rip it up. He said, because, you know, foster care is not about what you want. It's about the child that needs you.
Okay.
Which we agreed with.
Yeah.
But, you know, God said otherwise, and we did get what we wanted, and the child that needed us was a dark-skinned little girl with lots of curly hair.
So what you drew is actually what
I got.
ended up being the child that you got. That's incredible. That's so cool. Wow, that just never happens. You know, I mean, that was the whole point of the class.
Did, and you know, the day before we got on, we got called about another child that had been severely abused, and he was a white little boy.
Okay.
And we were going to get him. We said, you know, this is what God's calling us to do. If this is the little boy God wants us to get, we'll go get him.
Okay.
Lance took off work, and we were going to have to go pick him up from a hospital. And before we left, we got a call and said, actually, you know, someone else got him in the family. And, you know, I do believe that was God testing our obedience.
Yeah.
We didn't, you know, we didn't end up getting him, but that very next day we got the call about Anna.
Oh, wow.
And so that's just a neat little part of the story, how it all just fit together so perfectly.
Yeah, kind of preparing you almost,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
just a little bit earlier. That's incredible. So yeah, I haven't mentioned it other than what you just said. Anna is actually an African American child, and so I know that comes with its own set of challenges. I talked about how you have a TikTok and how you've used that platform a lot for adoption. Because we are actual friends, I've seen a lot of comments that are negative towards you adopting a child of a different race. Kind of talk to me about walking through that process. Even with Anna, you said she's how old now?
She's 4.
She's 4. So the process of, you know, explaining to her or talking to her about it, I'm sure it's different, obviously, when you go in public or go places. You know, walk me through that and kind of how your families had to adjust to that and what anybody else could expect adopting a child of any other ethnicity.
Well, in our home, in our 4 walls, it's very natural.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really, you know, we don't stop and say we're white and she's black.
Yeah.
She has gotten older to the point now where she'll say, you know, I'm brown and you're white, and you know, and she takes notice to that as far as what I'm doing to make her a proud black woman. You know, we take her. We make sure we keep her around other black people, strong black women. We took her to the Harriet Tubman Museum. You know, I want her to know who she is and to be proud of who she is. I don't ever want it to be different in a bad way.
Yes.
As far as outside of our home, you know, unfortunately we live in the South and everyone's not as nice.
Yeah.
There has been so much more support than there has been hate. I do want to say that. But, you know, people don't think that I'm equipped to raise an African American child, and you know, that's kind of hurtful because I'm trying my hardest, just like I am with my other 2 children.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not for me. It's not about color. I just want her to be a decent human being and to be proud of who she is. But like I say, I just try to really honestly, you know, just teach her about who she is and make her proud. And you know, her skin's beautiful, her hair's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Her hair is a learning process for sure, but I have YouTube and we work on it all the time.
Absolutely. What do you think has been the most challenging part of any of that? I actually was going to mention the hair. I've seen you post so much about days that you're trying to fix it and do it, and you're watching the videos and you're trying to get it done. I can barely do my own hair. So kind of walk us through that. Walk us through what might be a little more difficult at times, or what's something you've had to learn that has kind of stretched you.
Definitely the hair has been the biggest stretch for me. As far as physical stuff and stuff that I'm doing every day, I guess what's been the hardest part of any of it, which it's all such a blessing to me that I don't really think any of it's hard. Like, it's just something we have to do, you know, and I'm thankful for it. But I guess the hardest part of any of it is people misunderstanding, you know, or people thinking that we're not capable to raise her.
Yeah.
Or, you know, we won't treat her the same as we do our other children because she's actually the boss of our house. And
I was about to say, I think she's probably the most spoiled.
She does. We do what she says when she says do it. But, you know, really, she's just a blessing. She's just the most fun. And the hair has probably been the toughest part, but we're getting it.
I got you. Is there any advice that you have for parents that, again, might adopt outside of their ethnicity? Any kind of tip that you're like, hey, heads up, it might be this way, or you might have these type of days, anything you might maybe want to say to them?
If anything, you know, just what I would say is just love the child, and all that other stuff just kind of falls into place. And you know, the hardest thing would probably be the stairs. You know, we go to the store, or especially if I go by myself and it's just me and Anna, or if it's me and Lance and my husband and Anna, whatever, you know, you get people ask questions. It's okay for people to be curious and to ask. I guess that's the hardest part, is just, other people's perceptions. But I guess it's taught me that really doesn't matter, that I just have to focus in on my family and what God has me to do for them, and that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. I know you, and I know your heart, and it's so good. And I see her, so I know she is one of the happiest kids on the planet. So for what it's worth, I think you're doing an incredible job. But we're going to take just a little break, and then we're going to talk a little bit more just about you and about your other kids and other family. You're not just an adoptive mom, you're also a biological mom, so we want to kind of talk about that. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm Kyle Gerard with A+ Flooring and Construction, and we're standing in our new showroom that we opened in February, and we're excited about the business that we've already done. A couple things that we've added. We're now a metal roof distributor, so we can provide all your metal roofing needs for your home. So come and see us on that. Also, don't forget about our construction side of the company. We can do additions for you, new construction. We can also completely remodel your kitchens and baths, and a turnkey job.
Hi, I'm Bobby McCarthy with A+ Flooring. I'd like to share with you some of the specials that we have going right now. We have padded click LVP for $1.79 a foot. We also have multiple colors of LVP glue down for only 99 cents a foot. So come shop with us.
At A+ Flooring and Construction, 1801 Rice Avenue in Dublin, Georgia.
We'd love to do business with you.
Hi there, I'm Hannah, and these are some of my best friends that I know I can trust. Child abuse is a serious problem that many kids, just like me and you, face every day. So whether you're at home or at school, it's important to know that you can ask for help wherever you are. If you have friends that you are worried about, go to an adult that can help make them safe. There are many signs that can be a warning that a friend may be in a bad situation, and you have the ability to come to someone's rescue. If you are the one experiencing child abuse, just remember, you're not alone. There are so many people that can guide you out of an uncomfortable situation once you reach out to an adult. Here at Stepping Stone, we want to spread awareness for child abuse, and we need your help. We want to stand up for children and give them a safe place to be. If you are in need of immediate help, call 911 or call our fully anonymous and confidential crisis line at 478-595-8339, or call us here at Stepping Stone Child Advocacy Center at 478-275-9010. And remember, there's no excuse for child abuse.
Okay, we are back with Mallory. We've talked a lot about you being an adoptive mom, about you adopting Anna, your journey with that. I want to talk to you about your biological children. You were not a regular mom from the start. Kind of tell me how your first was born and the journey that you went on there.
So my first is 15 now, and I was 3 months pregnant with him when I graduated high school.
Awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't at the time, but it's turned out pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I've been with my husband for 20 years.
Okay.
We were high school sweethearts.
Okay.
And we had a surprise.
A surprise.
My senior year of high school, yeah. And, it was, to be totally honest, it was hard because it felt like it was pretty disappointing to my family, to my church family, honestly to my community, but he was my godsend, and Lance and I ended up getting married when he was 1.5.
Okay.
And he is honestly my best friend. The coolest part about having him is I feel like we've kind of raised each other.
I was about to ask you that.
We've just kind of grown up together. We've just raised each other. We have a good time. So
cool. So what is the exact age difference between you and him? You said you're how old?
I was 18.
18, so around 18, 19 when you had him. So yeah, that could, for some people, that's almost like brother, sister. How is it trying to raise a kid when sometimes you feel like a kid yourself? I know there's definitely moms out there, younger moms, high school moms or just graduated. Kind of talk me through that. How does that feel sometimes?
Honestly, when I would go somewhere with Peyton and I'd be with my mom, people would assume that he was my little brother.
Yeah.
And it used to make me so mad because I'm like, no, I carried him and I gave birth to him.
Yeah, you did the work.
I did, and I've always done the work. I've always, you know, I didn't leave him from the minute he was born. I have raised him, and it was hard. All of my friends went off to college.
Mhm.
You know, I stayed home.
Mhm.
All of my friends were out, you know, partying and you know, having a good time, going on spring break, and I was at home with a baby. But I really, honestly, 100% would not change it. It has been the biggest growing experience of my entire life.
I bet.
But I don't think, you know, things would have ended the way they did. So for me and Lance, you know, I had plans. I was leaving to go. I wasn't going to stay around. And
Yeah.
but we did. We had Peyton, and he has just he doesn't like this, but even now sometimes, you know, people don't think I'm his mother. They
Yes.
think, you know,
They think you're
I've been
together.
mistaken for his girlfriend, and
Yeah.
he can't stand that. But it's the perks of getting pregnant when you're 18.
I was going to say, that just makes you the pretty mom, you know, that everybody kind of aspires to be. So you did actually, though, go to school at some point. Was that after or before you had your second? I can't remember.
So after Peyton, I ended up having Kipton 5 years later.
Okay.
And I always jokingly say Kipton is the only child that Lance and I have that was born inside of wedlock. Because Anna and Peyton were not. But,
Right. And he's how old now?
he's 11.
Okay.
And he was he's precious too. We prayed hard for him, and we got him, and the boys were best friends, and I was a stay-at-home mom. And you know, I got to that point where Kipton was about 3 or 4, and I just wanted to do something. You know,
Yeah.
I had been home. I'd been raising kids
Right.
since I was 18, since I was a kid, and
Yeah.
so I decided I'd go to school, and so I did. And I just went to school to be a respiratory therapist. So.
Okay. So not only have we been young mom, we have been stay-at-home mom, we've been adoptive mom, now we're working mom.
Yeah.
So you've kind of honestly done it all. You should probably get Mom of the Year at this point. That's kind of how Mallory and I met. We were both respiratory therapists. Talk about how that kind of was during this past year. How was it being respiratory therapist, superhero mom in a pandemic, and kind of trying to keep them safe, and kind of how all of that went this past year?
You know, I think the hardest thing for my kids, especially for my middle child, Kipton, he was terrified for me to go to work. Like,
Yeah.
genuinely afraid for me to go to work. You were there, you worked through it. Us that were out in it, it wasn't so scary. You know,
Yeah.
we did what we had to do. You know, it was hard for our patients and to be there for them, but
Mhm.
we knew what we were walking into and we handled it. You know, but to leave children at home that were really scared, and
Yeah.
and they were home from school, so their whole life had been turned upside down,
Right.
and so they didn't want me to leave and all of this, but you know, I guess it's just like with everything else in life, you just get through it, and it's just
Yeah.
a season, and we got through it. And oddly enough, my oldest jokes all the time. He says, I almost wish we were back in quarantines. We could just all be home
Yeah.
and at the pool, and no one had to go to school and
Mhm.
everything. But last year was crazy for sure.
I bet. How was it at home when you were at home? You know, I live alone, so you know, when I was in quarantine, I kind of went stir crazy. But I'm sure that's a different kind of stir crazy with 3 kids and your
Mhm.
husband and everything else. How was that?
It was a zoo. Like, honestly, I say all the time my house is a zoo anyway, because my kids are so far apart in age. I have 15, 11, and 4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's honestly a zoo. You know, Peyton wants to be with his girlfriend. Kipton wants to play a video game. Anna wants to destroy the house. You know, it was a balancing act, and I was ready for school to open back up for sure.
I bet you were.
I
Most of
was.
us were.
Yeah.
Well, Mallory, again, you've just kind of done it all at this point. You've been kind of through every phase. We've gotten to cover so many phases just with you and your story. Is there any advice that you have to moms in any stage that they're at? Anything you want to say for Mother's Day, or to encourage them when it does feel like a zoo, or you know, anything like that? Anything you want to say to moms out there?
Buckle up. It's a wild ride, but
Absolutely.
it's absolutely worth it. And of all the hats I've ever worn, my favorite one is to be a mom. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
And it's hard, and there's different struggles, but I mean, genuinely, I couldn't do it if I didn't have faith in God, if I couldn't pray my children through every phase of their life, and just enjoy the ride and, take it slow, don't rush it.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Mallory, it was so good to talk to you. Please drop a comment. Send us something good that you loved about this interview. We think the story's incredible. But we will see you next time.